All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here today for our May 2026 MS in Entrepreneurship webinar. My name is Brian Brinkman. I am the Assistant Director of Recruitment and Advising here for the Jake Jobs Center for Entrepreneurship, which means I work with all students who are coming into our program from a recruiting side, from an application side, as well as students who are within our program from an advising standpoint, planning out degree plans, working with students on mentorships and internships, going over course offerings, and really just putting students in a position to succeed within our program. I'm very excited about today's webinar. Typically, in these webinars, I give you some information about our program or about our application. Sometimes we talk with faculty. Sometimes we talk specifically just with current students about the program at large. Today's going to be a little bit different. We are trying something new here in May 2026. We just wrapped our 2026 Climb pitch market or competition about 2 weeks ago. And I'm going to be joined by two of our winners from that evening, Eugene Zhang and Sean Mueller, who participated in the event, participated in a number of our workshops, worked through business concepts and business pitches, submitted ideas back in March, were selected as finalists for the event, and then worked through the April gauntlet of practice pitches, revisions, all the preparation for our main event that was held on April 23rd. And both gave incredible pitches that evening and both walked away with some winnings that can help them start their business endeavors and put themselves in a position to build out their businesses the way that we are hoping all students have the opportunity for. So we're going to talk today. I'm going to be joined by them here in a second. We're going to talk about their experience in the competition, what they thought of it, how it benefited them, where they found areas that were challenging, what recommendations they have for students, really just to put you all in a position to understand what hands-on experiential education opportunities you have here at the Jake Jobs Center for Entrepreneurship. I will say, for any student who is in an application phase for the summer or the fall, or preparing to start with us in the summer or fall, please do not hesitate to reach out to me at brian.brinkman@ucdenver.edu. I'm here to work with all students who are finalizing their applications for our upcoming start dates, make sure that your application is successful, and get you ready for the start of your semester, be it this summer or this fall. I will work with you on a degree planning call, as well as get you financial resources, scholarship information, all that sort of stuff, so that we can put you in a position to succeed. Without further ado, though, I do want to welcome Sean and Eugene here with me. If you guys want to turn on your videos and get all set up. How are we doing here, guys? How's it going, Eugene?
Great. Thank you. Thanks for having me here. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm doing well. Thank you. Sean, how are you today?
Doing great. Thanks for having us today.
Wonderful. Well, I really appreciate you guys taking some time. I know you're both really busy with finals going on right now, and the bliss of winning a competition. I don't know if it's worn off yet, or if the you guys both look like you're happy, you're elated at this point in time. So I'm guessing the celebrations are still going on.
The energy continues.
The
Yes.
energy continues. There we go. There we go. Well, I've got some questions for both of you, just with regards to the businesses that you put together, the pitches you put together, the execution of these business pitches, so that all of our students can kind of learn what the process looks like. Um, Eugene, let me start with you. Tell me about the origins of your business concept for Renmira, and kind of what led you to develop this pitch for the climb.
Yeah, so the idea for Ramera came directly from my work experience as a pharmacist working in hospital pharmacies. A problem that hospitals have is that they frequently run out of medications. And when medications run out, currently we use entirely manual methods of cold calling other hospitals one by one to borrow medications. It's a huge pain point. It's a bottleneck that everyone dreads, including us in the pharmacy when we have to call hospitals one by one. To the doctors, we tell them we don't have medication and now we have to change treatment plans. And to the patients, when we tell them they don't have the medications that they need. So that led me to think about how to streamline this medication barring workflow. What if I can put all this manual workflow through a centralized and digital platform, which eventually evolved into Remera.
I love it. I love it. So you took a practical need and an opportunity to, within your industry to put yourself in a position where you're able to ultimately build out a business concept and put yourself in a position where you can use an area of expertise for yourself as an opportunity to build out a business plan in college. That's a fantastic way to go about it. How about yourself, Sean? Tell me about the origins of your business concept.
Yeah, so proactive ethics was, born just out of the necessity of the financial industry. Billions of dollars are spent on compliance and regulatory fines every single year, and yet ethical failures persist. And that really bothered me. And, usually it just starts out, someone has success, they start making small rationalizations, leads to moving boundaries, and that creates, it's called ethical drift, and that causes a lot of problems. And, just based on my own story of going through that process, I thought if I shared my story, I could, interrupt that ethical drift. And, by just giving the audiences a human case story that they would remember.
Yeah. Yeah, and having both of you approached the competition and your businesses with personal experience and personal pain points you felt within your overall career, areas where you recognize there is a gap in terms of what is needed. I'm curious, do you think as entrepreneurs yourselves, as students who are in graduate level programs, this may be a hard question to answer, but I'm just curious your thoughts. Do you think that you have the tools right now to develop a business concept if you don't have a personal attachment to it? Or do you think that that personal attachment is a real kind of important aspect of your overall concept development phase?
Yeah, I think for me, and I mean, like you just mentioned, Brian, Eugene and I both have personal, things at stake here. I mean, we saw the problem, we saw the pain, we came up with the solution, and we're solving it. And these are real problems. And whether Eugene and I are ready to solve these or not, the market's pulling us to solve them.
Yeah, yeah,
And, thankfully, just by giving it our full effort, planning, getting involved in the climb competition, we're ready to go and, trying to, slay this problem.
I love that. How about you, Eugene? Do you feel like you have the skills to do something outside of a passion area, or is the passion area a really important thing for you?
Yeah, absolutely. To add on to Sean's point, I think having that personal pain point is a really common um, strategy for entrepreneurs to come up with ideas. There's other ideas out there, such as perhaps it's in other countries and we don't have it here yet, or vice versa. But this is a very common strategy for all, and really
Yeah.
taking it to the climb to validate the business idea and refine it.
Well, and let's talk about that. It's a very natural transition you just provided as well. Thank you so much. The climb workshops go on for a couple of months prior to the climb, and you guys have probably seen advertisements for the pitch competition going back a while. I know, Sean, you were attending our workshops last year, and you were helping out in a lot of ways with working with students who were going through that process. You were part of our incubator series. I believe you did our fall pitch series as well. I believe, Eugene, you were a part of that as well. How do you see over the last 12 months your business has changed, and do you see that being a part of some of the workshops that you've gone through, any of the mentorship opportunities? Sean, starting with you, do you see your business having gone through significant changes over the last, your pitch, your ideas, your concept over the last 12 months, and where do you attest that to, if so?
Yeah, I think the question you're asking, Brian, is like a graduating high school senior asking them to think back when they first entered kindergarten. Have you grown?
It's like a nugget of an idea and then it grows.
And because, I mean, I don't know about you, Eugene, but 12 months ago, I didn't have a business. I just had an idea and I had my story. And I knew that story was resonating with people when I told it to them. And, slowly but surely, just going through, the entrepreneurship classes, the different seminars you guys offered in the entrepreneurship department, it just kept growing. And, that turned into sharing the story with compliance firms, conferences, and going forward. And yeah, absolutely. The business has developed way more than I thought possible in that
Mm.
short amount of time.
How about you, Eugene? What are your thoughts?
I agree. Same here. Ramir has changed so much over the last few months, even. From early on with me, I just had the idea and I was starting to work on or building a working prototype, but many parts of my business model were still premature at the time.
Mm.
But through the climb workshops and mentorships, I was able to change and sharpen my business model. The climb had many opportunities to talk with all different experts at the events, and just made me think more deeply about how to scale my business, how to develop a pricing model, the go-to-market strategy, and a business pitch. And eventually refining all of those components into a business model that's ready for pitch night and beyond.
I don't want to put you guys on the spot, but you're both, you know, highlighting some really, I think, valuable aspects of going through this entire process is the sense of I have an idea. Where do I go with the idea? Well, I could just say first idea, best idea, and move forward. But I think both of you have clearly described going through the process of one step forward, kind of one side step to analyze things, another step forward, another side step. And you're still going through that. In 12 months from now, we could have a conversation. You could say, oh, I scrapped this whole thing and we're in this whole area. Um, Again, I don't want to put you on the spot, but Eugene, I'll just stick with you here for this. Were there any specific aspects of your business that you found over the last year you changed dramatically based on feedback that you were receiving?
Absolutely. A huge one was my pricing model.
Okay.
Originally, I priced it at $50 a month, and through getting mentorship and feedback with the industry experts at the various events, it made me look at, conduct a market research, um, compare what other comparable softwares are pricing their their products, um, and looking if there's a measurable financial strain on healthcare systems across the country. And that led me to refine my pricing model um, towards the final pitch night to 600 per month.
Interesting. So the pricing, you kind of went in with one idea of what it would be, and then you kept getting feedback of you're actually underselling this in some cases. You should be upping the overall because of how valuable this is. That's really interesting. That's got to be a big confidence booster too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. How about you, Sean? Anything that you felt like you changed?
Yeah, it was amazing going through the events for the climb competition. Going to classes, we had been talking about, narrowing your problem, narrowing your solution, really understanding your customer segmentation. But when you go through the actual climb events, especially the speed dating, when you have 90 seconds to explain your problem, your solution, and your customer, boy, you start stripping off parts like you're racing a car for your life.
Yeah, yeah,
And so that was really helpful for me because it
yeah,
just kept, narrowing it down, and that just made it so valuable.
yeah. That that is an aspect of this that as an advisor, I'd love for you guys to speak on this just really briefly. We get a lot of students, as you guys are well aware, and I'm sure you felt this at a certain point, who come to us with what they in the moment believe is the final idea. And I've thought about it, I've conceived of it, this is it, done. And then they start talking with you know entrepreneurs and mentors, and the feedback sometimes can be brutal. It can be a lot to swallow. It can be this sense of like, wait, did I do something wrong? No, 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 we're just working through your idea. Did you guys ever feel man, they're beating up on my idea right now? Or like, were there ever questions of, do I actually, like, do I have the thing here based on feedback? I mean, how did you guys take that sort of critical feedback that puts you in a position to really look in the mirror and wonder, where do I go next? Sean, I'll stick with you on that.
Yeah, I think vulnerability is the big word there. And do you want to be right or do you want to find the right solution? And I mean, yeah, you pour your heart and soul into this process, and you think you've solved the problem, and you think you have the exact way to do it, the exact plan. And when you, MP, Claire, and Beatrice get a hold of the plan and start sharing authentically, I think vulnerability is a real good skill to have there. You're just opening up like a lawn needs water. And I mean, you need the water, so just accept the water. Take it
Yeah,
in, redo your process, reevaluate what's going on and just adjust and get better.
yeah, yeah. That's a good way to put it. That like the the right answers are out there. It may not be in your head right now, but talking to someone who's done this before, you may actually find yourself to that point in ways that you weren't even considering. That's really interesting. How about you, Eugene? Any thoughts on all that?
I feel the exact same way. I thought the feedback from all the different events and sessions were extremely valuable.
Mm,
I think one of the most important features of being an entrepreneur is the continuous improvement that you can make based on getting feedback,
yeah,
making constant improvements and getting better at yourself and getting to a better business model. And the climb provided many opportunities to gain feedback from faculty and industry experts.
yeah, yeah. I like that. So you're going through these stages of, I've got an idea, I'm presenting the idea, I'm getting feedback on the idea, I'm tweaking the idea, I'm making all these adjustments. Do you remember when you felt like you were ready? You know, obviously the deadline is one thing. We know when the applications are due. Did you feel like there was a point during the process where you said, I know I'm ready to present this. This idea is ready to get all of the feedback and judged ultimately to determine if I can place. When did that happen for you guys? Eugene, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so this went back to last October. That's when I first started working on Remera, and I was seeking uh, mentorship on startups, on starting my own company. It was the first line for
Hmm.
me. So I was reaching out to a lot of the business school faculty that I took during my MBA program, and that's when they all pointed me towards the Climb, how it's a wonderful resource for aspiring student entrepreneurs and provides a lot of resources and mentorship for getting startups off the ground. So that's when I reached out and um, submitted my idea. Just felt was a wonderful opportunity to uh, offer at our school to validate business ideas and seek expert mentorship and resources.
Yeah. So last fall, you were like, I'm good to go. I'm ready to start this whole process
Yep.
like that. And then you're committed for 6 months at that point in time. How
Yes.
about you, Sean? Did you feel like you were ready at a similar time, or what was it like for you?
Yeah, I can almost feel the sweat coming out of my hands, remembering that moment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, I've been thinking about this November, December, and then when the spring semester started in January, I really started to get a pretty good feel like, hey, I think I can make this a business. And the night of the speed dating competition, that afternoon in class, we were all practicing our pitch with each other. And we had, a lot of confidence with each other. We had built up a lot of, just it was a good relationship with everybody in the room. So, it was comfortable. And I think it was 90 seconds at the time. And, a lot of us were hitting that 90-second mark, saying what we needed to and comfortable, taking it from the second floor where the classroom was down to the first floor into the Jake Jab Center. And somehow the first couple pitches you do in the speed dating competition, 90 seconds on the first floor feels different than 90 seconds on the second floor.
yeah.
And that's what I meant by you just start stripping off ideas and you start stripping off things that just are not crucial to your pitch. And by the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh pitch that night, you've got it down to 90 seconds and you know exactly what you need to say. You know exactly how to, tee up the person listening to you, so you know what question they're going to ask you. And it just goes in a smooth process like that because you're just buying into the process. You're just giving it your all, and you're basically just throwing yourself at, the experts that are there to help you.
Yeah, yeah, and that process, it almost you can equate it, especially that night, to I don't know if you guys ever play any sports, but like compete, practice for any type of sport where the game is essentially what pitch night was. You've got that
Mhm.
one shot, it's all on the line, but the build up to it is the stuff that nobody notices unless they're a part of it. And it's a night like Pitch Market, which for everyone out there who is not familiar, Pitch Market is one of our events that we have in the lead up to the main event, the main climb event in April. Pitch Market happens about a month prior, and we have about 10, 12 entrepreneurs and advisors and judges and investors all at tables, and students come in and they just go from table to table, and you've got 90 seconds to pitch your idea, and then they've got 90 seconds to give you feedback. And like Sean's saying, it moves once that room starts going. I just had to handle the mic this year and announce it, and even that I felt pressure. I was like, wait, what are we doing right now? What's going on? I got to deliver something. You guys actually are delivering your pitches. But I think the cool thing about that night, I love the energy in the room. But what you're speaking about, Sean, that first pitch, you sometimes feel like you're, walking through quicksand. And it's just like, how am I ever going to get out of this? And then you finish, timer goes off, maybe you haven't even said your company's name, and you get feedback, and you're like, oh, okay, right, I need to reset. By like pitch number 7, 8, 9, 10, it's like, in sports, you do the drill over and over and over and over again. And finally, that 10th time, you're like, oh, yeah, I know how to do that. And then it becomes
Right.
muscle memory. And so at that point, I've got to imagine for both of you, your confidence level goes up.
Without a doubt.
Nice. The feedback sessions, you listed this, you mentioned this, Sean. So for everyone out there who is interested in participating in the Climb in the Future, who's interested in the MS and Entrepreneurship program, should you be accepted as a finalist for the Climb Pitch Night, we do feedback sessions right in the room I'm in right now, the main conference room here at the JJCE. And, you know, candidly speaking, those are probably my favorite part of this entire experience, because I get to see a student come in who has the reassurance that their business concept is great, that their pitch is on the right track. But it's that first time you see that student say, all right, I got to give it to you guys the way I'm thinking I'm going to give it next week. And we always provide kind of a fire hose of feedback. And it's about a week before. So it's real crunch time for you guys. How did those sessions, Eugene, I'll start with you. How did those session or that session help you to A, look at your pitch from kind of a critical mindset, but B, also kind of pivot it so that you could get it to the successful place that it ultimately was when you competed?
Yeah, that session was incredibly important for me. Um, I can't stress enough on the continuous improvement that entrepreneurs need to make based on getting feedback. Um, the biggest struggle I had was coming to an effective business pitch. So for most of my career, I've been a science major and later on
Mm,
healthcare. So in science presentations, they teach us to emphasize on theories and the reasoning and why it's clinically impactful to people. But I learned for a business pitch, you have to simplify all that into a pitch where people can easily understand the problem and easily understand the solution. So through that feedback session really helped me a lot in simplifying my pitch, strengthening my structure, and in the end, coming to that compelling business pitch.
I like that it's almost like the scientific approach to it, that there's a right answer. This is a little different in that there's a right answer that could be over here or over here, but you're finding what works for you, but also synthesizing that and really refining it. And the phrase you used, I'm going to butcher, but that kind of like constant improvement, the humility that goes along with this, that is really something that you're hitting a core part of what it means to be an entrepreneur. If you don't have that, or if you have to train yourself for that, it's kind of a hurdle in that sense. Because I see this all the time. A student thinks the idea they have is the idea. Now we got to work really hard to figure out exactly how to get you into the point of the best idea, because the idea we have at the start is not necessarily as refined as we're going to get to. Sean, how about yourself? How did those feedback sessions help you?
Yeah, it was amazing. It just reinforced, how much I appreciate the university. Sitting in that room with you guys, you told me the truth, and it was the truth I needed to hear.
Yeah.
One of the things when you concentrate so hard on a startup business, you're a half inch away from your canvas while you're painting, and you get stuck on minute details. And you guys are, a little bit away from the canvas, and you could say, hey, try some, different tones over here, or hey, you might, try and brush this in here and contour this. And again, it just revolves back around. If you go in there and you're vulnerable, you're going to learn a lot. And again, what MP, Claire, Beatrice, and you have done is set up that psychological safety where someone can be vulnerable because you guys have earned that right to tell them what they need to hear.
So it's a really great way of putting it. I'm thinking, one of the challenges for us is that we develop a close relationship with all of the students who are committed to the process. And so there are always very hard decisions to make where we turn away an idea for a variety of reasons. But the students who make it to the place that you guys were at, you guys have earned this right essentially for us to tear an idea apart lovingly, or and I wouldn't say tear it apart, but like look at an idea from a critical angle. For you, like you
Mhm.
just mentioned, Sean, and I'm sure you felt this, Eugene, you're so close to it. This is this idea that you've conceived of, that you've developed. For us, we're hearing about this idea in some cases for the first time in mid-March. And so we can have a little bit less of that like romantic relationship with the idea, that real feeling of this is where I'm going with my career, with the next step in my life. And so that puts us ultimately in a position where we can say, I care about you, the person, and I care about the idea being successful. But if I can step aside and give you this insight here without the kind of the close knit feeling towards it, it will actually help you in the long run. And having that kind of sense of trust, it seems like something that has benefited both of you from a student standpoint.
Without a doubt.
So let's transition here to pitch night. So just to recap for everyone who's listening, we have events throughout the year based on pitches, based on incubation, based on um, tweaking a pitch and a business concept, all the way up to students submitting their business ideas in late March. We make final decisions in early April. 6 or 7 students tend to be our finalists for the pitch night every late April. We go through the feedback sessions so that you guys get feedback on where your pitches are at. You can make final edits, and then we get to pitch night, and you're in front of a crowd and in front of a panel of judges, and there's $20,000 waiting there at the back end. And we have a number of prizes that we're able to give out, but there's money there that is a possibility for someone to have to change aspects of their business. Sean, were you nervous heading into pitch night as a result of all of this? And if so, how did you combat this?
Yeah, nervous is relative, but yes, I was definitely nervous. I think, and even though, it's great receiving that check, that's money's very important. I think, it was about the mission. And if I think I was so involved in trying to move that mission forward, solving that problem that I think I just wanted to get that validation, like this is the right solution for this problem. And I really wanted to help, solve this mission and move this forward. And it kind of just, once you get going, the nerves, they start going away because you're prepared. You've gone through how many times have you practiced the pitch? You've been in that room with everybody. You've had your idea sliced and diced lovingly, and you're just ready to go. I mean, and you're polished by that point. And yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking at first, but what gets you through it, you're prepared, and box breathing, like special forces use to get rid of anxiety and stress before a major mission, you're ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, you get in that focus zone. I mean, again, the sports, the military metaphor, it's just kind of you're locked in and ready to go. Um,
Right.
Eugene, how about you? Were you nervous going in, and how did you combat it if so?
Absolutely. I was nervous. First time presenting live in front of over 120 people. But I think what helped me was practice, repetition before the pitch night on my own, but also through all the various climb events held through the months. The final pitch night was also very supportive. From the other teams, faculty, the audience, everyone was energetic and very supportive. I think what also mattered most was the moment when you walk up on the stage, when you start talking about something you really care about, something that you have a passion for. I think at that moment, that's when I start to forget about being nervous and start to focus on presenting my business.
That's a good way to put it because, that gets back to the sense of this feeling. A lot of successful endeavors from an entrepreneurial standpoint have to come from this passion place because you're going to be living in this business for however long, and you're going to be living through the ups and downs and the challenges. And if someone questions it, they're questioning you at sometimes is how it feels. Um, so that passion has to be there, but also like you're saying, Sean, that focus of, I've prepared, I've done everything I need to do. It's time to just go and execute as best as possible. Um, so to that, you get 4 minutes to pitch, and that pitch, I'm sure for you guys both feels like it's over in a second and also is like stretching on. Like there's a weird time goes
Right.
in bizarre directions then. And then you finish, and for anyone who is on the call who has not been to our events or has not participated in a pitch night, there's then 4 minutes of questions from the judges. And those questions are never pre-written, they're never presented to you for preparation. It's like the worst kind of and best kind of pop quiz that you could ever get because you know the topic, you know it, you've created this is all yours, but they're going to pick apart things that you may not have thought about, that you may not have um, you know, considered, and put you in a position of defending ideas while taking feedback professionally when you're like, well, I know this idea, I know what this should be, but now you're questioning me about it. So how did you guys combat that aspect of it? Did you find that the questioning aspect of the overall that the panel that was challenging for you? Did you find that invigorating? Eugene, what are your thoughts?
I definitely thought the questions were challenging, but I think it's important for every entrepreneur to really know your product.
Mm,
And we all do since we've built it from idea to the product. Um,
yeah,
you know,
I like that. How about you, Sean? What were your thoughts on the questions?
Yeah, I thought the questions, the way I related the whole process, and not that starting a business is nowhere near the same as being in a war, but that saying, I'd rather sweat in practice than bleed in war. I mean, I would rather sweat in front of those judges asking me the tough questions. Maybe I haven't thought about something, and maybe it's something that maybe I've been blind to. I'd rather get blindsided by the judge where, it's low stakes when you're on the stage because all you're given is sweat, as opposed to like being out in the real marketplace where someone may decimate your business because you're not thinking clearly.
Yeah. Yeah, that idea that's a really good way to look at it because every one of these opportunities is an opportunity for you to question whether or not I have a viable idea at this point in time. So that's obviously a part of this. But to your point, Sean, it's also an opportunity for you to then step back and be like, well, why did they question that? Well, they probably questioned that because there was a gap here that I can now address. How do I address this? And it's that building block aspect of continuing to build out your business. Um, Sticking with your pitches here really quickly, Sean, what do you feel went really well during your pitch? And is there any moment where you wish you could have improved, any moment where you wish that you would have changed it?
Yeah, I think I really liked the way I connected with the audience just by sharing my story and my background, because that really is my business. But the main thing that I've thought about continuously since the pitch was just making that pitch as simple as possible, as simple as possible. And even though you have 4 minutes, I would plan on doing like a 3 minute and 15-second pitch because by the time you actually get in that room, Eugene, I don't know if you felt this, but it's some sort of weird time continuum where 3.5 minutes is suddenly past 4 minutes. That's so, I mean, really make your pitch as simple as possible.
Like that. Eugene, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think what went well for me was actually being able to communicate my at first complex healthcare problem into a business pitch that was easily understood by the judges and audience of various backgrounds, which that piece, the climb workshops and feedback allow me to refine my business pitch. In terms of improvements, I think towards the beginning there was a slight transition I could have done better and perhaps improving the storytelling, the hook at the
Mhm.
beginning of the pitch that grabs your audience attention.
It's interesting to hear you guys both be I can hear a sense of pride because of the work that you did, but then also that kind of criticism, that like kind of nagging, constant, well, you could have done this better. That like you have to have that to be an entrepreneur. That's a part of it where you can be proud of yourself for the work that you did, but then also say, yeah, but you could have done this better. So now the next time you do that better. And that's just a sign of, continual progress. And no, I like how you guys both put that in terms of the storytelling aspect and the simplicity aspect. I'm curious as you guys where you're sitting right now and you think about the simplicity side of it, do you feel like you've unlocked in a way a simpler way to tell the story of what your business is? Or do you feel like you're still learning that, Eugene?
I feel my pitch has improved so much through all the feedback and sessions to simplicity, but I think there's ongoing improvements uh, in terms of continuous feedback and continuous improvements.
How about you, Sean?
Yeah, definitely. It just simplified the message when you get in front of new audiences or, one person or two-person that is interested in what you're doing. You know how to deliver that response. And
Yeah.
that clarity moves that conversation to the next level.
hmm Yeah, I like that. So we're about 2 weeks out since the climb. So it's obviously very early. But Eugene, how has winning the climb impacted you as an entrepreneur?
I think it's huge. Like in addition to the start funding and gaining business idea validation, I think the experience gave me greater confidence in both my vision and also the momentum, the momentum to keep on building Rumera. And I think the events also helped me develop and build out a more strategic mindset when it comes to startups, like what to look for, the product market research, the product market fit, how to price your product and pitch your business in front of audience and potential investors.
So for you, it's confidence combined with now you kind of see the process of how to do this, and that helps you. Is that kind of how I'm hearing it correctly?
Yes.
I like that. Sean, how about yourself? How has this impacted you as an entrepreneur?
Well, that was a Thursday night. And so I'm enrolled in the Masters of Entrepreneurship program at CU Denver. So, school started, projects were still going. We just wrapped up an incredible customer deep dive project for the startup launch, and I mean, it's still going. And I mean, the Zoom interviews with, your target audience, it just keeps moving and it keeps moving you forward. But what really happened with the climb was it validated the idea that we're working on. Hey, these are good ideas. You should keep working on this.
Yeah, that kind of similar to what Eugene is saying. You're on the right track. Let's keep tweaking this. I mean, to that point, and Eugene, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as well. Do you think that this helps you when you consider a business concept that is not your own to look at what works, what doesn't work, and provide feedback for someone else?
Absolutely. And I think the workshops and event series play a huge role into that. To hear from industry experts and business leaders on the feedback they have, they bring real world experience into they listen to your business idea, and then you get a better idea on market validation and market fit.
That Sean, how about you? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I would think, getting into the climb competition is like entering a fitness competition where
Hmm.
you want to get in better shape. Your nutrition, you got to have a certain way and your supplements, but you just got to do the work and you got to do it as efficiently and effectively as possible. And that's where, again, MP, Claire, Beatrice, and you, Brian, come into this. You authentically share the information that's needed. And if the person's being vulnerable, they're going to accept it, they're going to grow, and they're going to be in a healthy position to keep growing stronger.
I like that. So, Sean, I'll start with you here for our last question. What is next for proactive ethics? What is your next step?
It's three exciting things all converging almost at the same time. One of the first partnerships we set up was with a national compliance firm. They've shot the videos, they've edited the videos. We're going to be doing a webinar Tuesday that's going to kick off the sales launch for those videos. And then in July, there's the annual conference that I'm speaking at for 5,500 people. That is my target audience. The compliance firm is going to be there with the booth. So it's going to be a nice way to multiply, what I'm doing. And then if that's not enough, I have a book that's planning to launch in July as well. Just talking about my story.
Man, so you are going to be busy. You are working at launching this completely, and you are taking what you've learned over the last year or so and really just applying it in real time.
Right, along with the masters of an entrepreneurship class at the same time. So it's like having a tour guide going through the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah, I like that a lot. How about you, Eugene? What is next for Renmiro?
So for Romero, over the next month, my focus is on finishing product development, finishing building the platform. The funding from the climb will greatly accelerate development. The next, I'll be looking to secure hospital partnerships, and by year's end, I plan to launch Romero at hospitals.
Wow. And have you started talking to hospitals about this?
Not yet, so I'm going to finish out product development first.
Cool, cool. And then start selling this. So
Yes.
you guys are both moving. For anyone who's listening to this, who is considering going back to school, who's looking at the Masters of Entrepreneurship, you're looking at two students who have developed business concepts based on areas that they are passionate about. They've gone through the challenging process and the humbling process, as you guys have both attested to, of hearing no, that may not be the right way to go about this. Or have you considered this and really looking at this product, not so much as I have it right now, but I'm on the right track and how do I get it there? And that review and editing and revision process that can be exhausting and it can be challenging and it can challenge your own emotions in terms of what you feel the business should be versus what the market tells you or what an advisor tells you it should be. And then you've gone through the process of presenting this idea as a pitch in front of live audiences and then being successful, receiving funds for this and investments into the overall business. For anyone who's considering going back to school, this is how we launch businesses within our program. It's a step-by-step process. And so I'm really thankful that both of you took this as seriously as you both did, because I think that it puts us in a position where it's really enjoyable then, because we know that we have students who care, who are working really hard, but are also open to what needs to be done to make this business successful beyond just I've conceived of something that I think will be successful at this point in time. So very last question. I tricked you guys with the last one. One piece of advice that you would have for students who are considering, be it they're either in school right now or they're going back to school and they have a business concept, what would you recommend they do within the structures of the climb to be successful? Eugene, I'll start with you.
My biggest advice is to start early. Submit your business idea early and gather as much feedback as you can from all the climb workshops and events, from all the industry experts and leaders, business leaders, and use that feedback to really refine your business idea and model to something that's very compelling.
I like that. I like that. Sean, last word for you.
Yeah, I would build on what Eugene said there. Share your idea. I mean, use school for what it is. It's a learning process, and the more vulnerable you are, the more you're going to learn when there's low stakes,
Mm,
and that's when you want to learn the most.
I like that. Yeah, the I tell students all the time, you can go after the entrepreneurial field on your own and you can go through the entire process. But if you utilize school, you have all those resources essentially hand delivered to you while also getting a degree. So you can launch a business while obtaining a graduate level degree. You can't really beat that. That's a really beneficial period for you. Well, Sean and Eugene, thank you both so much. We keep putting you guys on the hot seat, so I appreciate you guys taking some time here today to chat with me while it's still fresh, the experience of participating in the climb. I want to congratulate both of you on your winnings. You both have two fantastic ideas. You're both incredibly hardworking students and entrepreneurs, and I am very excited to see what both of you do from an experiential standpoint within your businesses. I think that we're going to be hearing about them for a long time to come. So thank you guys so much for the time, and I really appreciate it today.
Thank you so much for your time and for having us here.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. All right, guys. Well, thank you to everyone who watched us today. I hope you got a lot out of this conversation. Like I said, Sean and Eugene are quite impressive. Um, I will be available in the coming days for any questions that you may have about our applications. If you are looking at summer or fall 2026, do not hesitate. Send me an email at brian.brinkman@ucdenver.edu, and we can set up a one-on-one call to talk through your application, your upcoming classes, all of that, so that we can get you in position to be a year from now on the screen here with me talking through your business concept that you pitched at the climb. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk with you all here soon.
Thank you.